Hello, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into an absolutely pivotal moment in days of our lives that could completely reshape the future of baby Tesoro. As Irna and Tate Greene are considering joining forces to raise their precious nephew themselves, with support from their brother Mark, recently released from prison, and their youngest sibling Felicity, proving that family bonds run deeper than anyone anticipated. This is the story of how one unexpected paternity revelation transformed into a potential family reunion that could change everything. The shocking paternity revelation. Aaron Greene's world experienced a seismic shift on Halloween night when the DNA test results arrived, confirming what he had secretly hoped yet simultaneously feared. Sporting anxious expressions and trembling hands, Aaron initially couldn't bring himself to open the notification that would alter his entire existence. Instead, he handed his phone to his sister Tate, asking her to read the fateful results aloud while getting ready for Halloween festivities. In that breathtaking moment when Tate announced that it was a match, Irna's Tesoro's biological father, full weight of impending fatherhood crashed down upon the young man's shoulders. Aaron immediately voiced his deepest fear. "I'm too young to be a dad," he confessed, his voice laden with uncertainty and the crushing pressure of sudden responsibility. The revelation came as a shocking twist in a storyline that had captivated soap opera audiences for months. Previously, many fans and characters believed that Tate Black had fathered the child born to Sophia Choi, the scheming and manipulative young woman whose web of deception had ensnared both young men. However, paternity testing revealed that Aaron's suspicions were correct all along, and Sophia had shared an intimate encounter months earlier, resulting in the precious baby boy that everyone now called Tesoro. Aaron's internal conflict became immediately apparent, recognizing his youth and unpreparedness for fatherhood, yet unable to ignore the biological connection he now shared with this innocent child who needed him. Tate's unwavering support and sisterly bond. Tate Greene, Aaron's protective and resourceful sister, immediately positioned herself as her younger brother's emotional anchor during this tumultuous period. When E.J. DeMero approached Tate in the town square with an unusual proposition, convincing Aaron to voluntarily surrender his parental rights so that Johnny and Chanel could adopt Tesoro, Tate faced an internal moral conflict. E.J.'s request put Tate in an impossible position: betray her brother's interests or refuse a request from a powerful Salem businessman with whom she was cultivating a complicated relationship. Rather than immediately agreeing or disagreeing, Tate found herself wrestling with competing loyalties and the question of what truly served Tesoro's best interests. However, Tate's love for Aaron transcended any external pressure, and she began seriously considering an alternative scenario that no one else had fully explored. What if Aaron didn't have to sign away his parental rights? What if the Greene family could unite and collectively raise baby Tesoro themselves? Tate's protective instincts kicked into overdrive as she watched her younger brother grapple with an impossible decision made under extraordinary time pressure. She recognized that Aaron had been given minimal time to process such a monumental life change, discovering he was a father and being asked to relinquish those rights all within the span of a single day. This compressed timeline troubled Tate deeply, suggesting that perhaps the adoption route was being rushed without adequately considering what Aaron truly wanted. Mark Greene's surprising return and potential role. Adding another complex layer to this family narrative was the recent return of Mark Greene, the eldest of the Greene siblings, who had been released from prison after serving time for his involvement in criminal activities orchestrated by Clyde Weston. Mark's incarceration had left a void in the Greene family structure, and his homecoming to Salem presented both challenges and unexpected opportunities. Despite his checkered past and the skepticism surrounding his redemption prospects, Mark now faced the opportunity to prove that he had genuinely transformed during his imprisonment. If Aaron was considering raising Tesoro with family support, Mark could potentially provide another adult presence in the household, someone who understood the weight of making life-altering mistakes and could perhaps offer wisdom born from hard-earned experience. Mark's professional struggles upon his release complicated his potential participation in raising Tesoro. Having lost his medical license due to his criminal actions, Mark desperately needed employment and faced significant obstacles in securing meaningful work. However, the prospect of becoming an active uncle figure, of being needed by his family during a critical juncture, might provide Mark with the motivation and sense of purpose that could anchor his rehabilitation. His presence in the household could provide financial contribution, childcare assistance, and most importantly, the message to Aaron that he wasn't alone in this overwhelming responsibility. Felicity Greene, the youngest and most enthusiastic supporter. Completing this potential family unit is Felicity Greene, the youngest of the Greene siblings, whose youthful energy and natural warmth could prove invaluable in nurturing a baby. Felicity had already demonstrated her caring nature through her employment at Sweet Bits Bakery and her friendships throughout Salem. As the baby of the family herself, Felicity possessed an innate nurturing instinct that could be channeled toward helping raise her biological nephew. Her unbridled enthusiasm and emotional availability stood in stark contrast to the more complicated emotional landscapes of her older siblings, making her an ideal stabilizing force in the home. The prospect of the Greene family raising Tesoro collectively represented something deeply meaningful, the triumph of family bonds over institutional procedures. Together, Aaron, Mark, and Felicity could provide the baby with a genuine family experience and not a single-parent household or even a standard two-parent arrangement, but a multi-generational, emotionally rich family environment. This unconventional approach to childcare carried both advantages and challenges that deserved serious consideration before Aaron made his final decision. Tate Black's understanding, comfort, and shared experience. One of the most poignant moments in this unfolding narrative came when Tate Black, Aaron's best friend, recognized the profound parallelism in their respective situations and stepped forward to offer comfort. Tate had experienced an almost identical ordeal when he initially believed he might be Tesoro's father, only to discover later that Aaron held that distinction. Having felt relief upon learning he didn't have to assume unexpected fatherhood, Tate possessed unique insight into Aaron's current emotional turmoil. When Aaron expressed to Tate that he had indeed dodged a bullet with Sophia, the irony became painfully apparent. Aaron himself had now become the biological father that both young men had simultaneously hoped and feared to be. Tate's support during Aaron's guilt-ridden moments of doubt offered something that other well-meaning friends couldn't provide: authentic understanding rooted in shared experience. Tate comprehended the dizzying emotional cocktail of discovering unexpected paternity while simultaneously being pressured to make permanent decisions about parental rights. His presence alongside Aaron during this critical period underscored an important truth. Sometimes the most meaningful support comes from someone who has already walked a similar path. Irna and Javi Hernandez, the bittersweet farewell. The adoption proceedings for baby Tesoro reverberated far beyond Aaron's emotional world, creating significant impact on other families who had grown attached to the precious child. Young Irna Hernandez had become deeply integrated into Tesoro's foster family structure, and the prospect of his adoption by Johnny and Chanel forced her to confront the heartbreaking reality of saying goodbye. Aaron recognized Ari's emotional struggle and made a point to comfort her, understanding that her attachment to the baby ran deep. He acknowledged how devastated Ari had become about the separation, gently affirming her feelings while trying to help her understand that Tesoro would be happy with his new adoptive parents. Additionally, Aaron recognized that Ari's younger brother Javi Hernandez was experiencing his own profound grief about Tesoro leaving the foster family. Javi had served as one of Tesoro's primary caregivers, and the bond formed during those intimate daily interactions created attachments that transcended typical foster care relationships. Ari worried about her brother's emotional well-being, recognizing how much this loss would hurt him. This collateral emotional damage of the adoption process added another layer of complexity to Aaron's internal calculus. Was adoption really the best path if it caused such widespread heartbreak among the people who loved Tesoro? Aaron's internal conflict and the rushed timeline. What made Aaron's situation particularly troubling was the compressed time frame in which he was forced to make life-altering decisions. In virtually a single day, Aaron learned he was a biological father, was presented with adoption proposals, and was pressured into signing away his parental rights. This rushed process didn't allow for genuine deliberation about alternatives, sensing the possibility of raising Tesoro with family support. The guilt that plagued Aaron stemmed not merely from relinquishing his child, but from the nagging suspicion that he hadn't been given sufficient time to thoroughly explore all available options. Tate's gentle counsel suggested that Aaron might experience regret about this hasty decision. The preview clips foreshadowed Aaron's increasing emotional turmoil, with his sense of guilt intensifying as he processed the permanence of what he'd done. Questions began to surface. Could Aaron have managed fatherhood with his family's help? Was there a viable path forward that everyone had overlooked in their rush to place Tesoro with Johnny and Chanel? These haunting uncertainties set the stage for potential future confrontations about whether Aaron's decision was truly his own choice or resignation extracted through circumstance and external pressure. The Greene family bond, or real family ready to rise. Despite their complicated history, unconventional circumstances, and individual struggles, the Greene siblings demonstrated something profoundly meaningful: an unwavering commitment to family. They didn't emerge from the pages of a conventional family template. Mark had served prison time. Aaron was an unprepared young man thrust into fatherhood. Kat worked under cover of secrecy in ways even her siblings didn't fully understand, and Felicity was still finding her footing in the world. Yet together, they represented a real family, imperfect, sometimes chaotic, but genuinely interconnected and capable of extraordinary love. The possibility that Aaron and Kat might join forces to raise Tesoro, with Mark and Felicity providing essential support and stability, challenged conventional narratives about what constitutes an adequate family environment. A baby surrounded by multiple loving adults, each contributing unique strengths and perspectives, might thrive in ways that traditional single-parent or even standard nuclear family arrangements couldn't necessarily provide. This multi-generational, multi-sibling approach to childcare and emotional nurturing represented a return to more traditional familial structures where multiple family members shared responsibility for raising the youngest generation. A family at crossroads. As November 2025 progressed, the Greene family found itself at a critical juncture that would define not just the future of baby Tesoro, but the very nature of what family could mean in contemporary Salem. Would Aaron regret his rushed decision to sign away paternal rights, or would the adoption by Johnny and Chanel prove to be the best outcome for everyone involved? Would Kat successfully convince her brother that they could have handled this differently together, or would she support his acceptance of the adoption as the mature and responsible choice? And what role would Mark and Felicity ultimately play in shaping the Greene family's response to this crisis? The answers to these questions would reverberate through Salem's social fabric, potentially reshaping relationships, challenging assumptions about family obligation, and forcing audiences to confront uncomfortable truths about how quickly decisions are made during soap opera emergencies and whether those decisions always reflect what people truly want when given adequate time for reflection. The Greene family's journey promised to deliver both heartbreak and perhaps unexpected hope about the power of familial bonds to transcend conventional limitations and circumstances.